Hello and welcome to the Tournament Center. I'm Randy Buehler here with Brian David-Marshall. We are at Pro Tour-Valencia and the water has receded. Day 1 was canceled, but we are back on schedule. Day 2, or is this day 0.5?
It's day 0.5.
I guess we're at stage 0.5. Saturday morning, everybody's going to show up, 9 a.m. They're going to play 10 rounds on Saturday. Takes a 7-3 mark to advance to Sunday. 3 more rounds of Swiss, first thing Sunday morning. Cut to top 8, run the webcast, hand out the big checks.
Right.
It's the basic Pro Tour format, just crunched into 2 days, a couple rounds trimmed off. Does that have any, what do you think that does to the format? Does that change anything?
Well, draws are a lot less attractive under this scenario. I think it might change the type of deck you're going to play. If you're coming into the format playing a blue-white control deck, maybe you're less likely to...
You might be less likely to play blue-white control deck, but the thing that would get me is 10 rounds.
Right, 10 rounds in one day.
That's a lot of Magic. I mean, I think they're projecting a finish time at like 11 p.m. You know, you're at the end of round 10. It could be 11:30. You're heading stumbling back to the hotel, and then you got 3 rounds to play in the morning.
Right, suddenly Gift Rock looks a lot less attractive when you're playing. I mean, I've watched Gift Rocks on the matches on PEs that have been 3 games, each game going 25 turns. You know, multiply that over 11 rounds, even forgetting the draws.
Right.
That's pretty challenging.
Yeah, I don't feel like the draws are that much worse. I mean, it's a cut. You got to go 7-3.
Right. All
right, fine. 7-2-1 is still. It's not like that draw killed you there.
Sure. And at 7-3-1, you can still finish in the money.
Yeah, that's
extra
true.
pro points,
Absolutely.
even though you don't make the cut. One of the big concerns for people was, hey, I'm flying home Sunday. I wasn't necessarily counting on being in the top 8.
Yeah, a lot of people do tend to book flights home, maybe midday Sunday, maybe Sunday morning. Figure if I make the top 8, I'm willing to change a flight. So sort of with this 2-day format, the cut at 7-3, you kind of know you're still in top 8 contention. And the projection is there will be people that make the money but still go home on Saturday.
Sure, probably about 20 or 25 players, I think.
Yeah, so you got like, 50, 60 guys show up on Sunday. They're all still mathematically in top 8 contention. Maybe the X3s maybe need some help on tiebreakers.
Sure. Can't afford to lose, for sure.
So not everything has changed. Still got a wide open extended format. Still got a couple of Japanese superstars headlining a Player of the Year race. Still should be an awesome Pro Tour.
You've been in a Player of the Year race. Would you like Kenji Samura a little bit ahead of you in the race or a little bit behind you trying to close? I don't think I want Kenji trying to close.
I see your point. He certainly gets this, I can't lose anymore. I mean, we've seen him rattle off top 8s when he picked up the 3rd loss early.
Double-digit wins in a row.
Right.
Just crazy streaks.
But still, I mean, the math says more points is better.
I know.
I still think more points is better, even if it's Kenji.
It's true.
So that's where I'm at. Anyway, site is actually going to open Friday night for side events. There's a Super Friday Night Magic that's going to be going on, so the pros will probably be heading back to the site, get in some side drafts.
It's release event weekend.
It is release event weekend. Do you think that extra day, I mean, do you think, is that going to lead more people to second guess? Is that going to lead people to just draft all day? I mean, so we talked about the impact that the 10 rounds would have on it, but what is that extra day of waiting? Does that do anything?
Everyone I saw level 5, level 6, they were all drafting today. Right?
Okay.
There were packs available. It was actually pretty amazing. There was a little hotel suite set up for players.
Sure. And
people were able to come in, get a free seal deck of Lorwyn, and just play like this free form seal deck. I mean, I got to say, big kudos to the event staff here. You guys see us in front of the camera, but there's a ton of people behind the scenes here who just do an amazing job. And this was, they did a great job of not only getting the event running, but like taking care of the players and making sure everyone had something to do. But the Japanese pros, playing seal deck, drafting. Anyone who's level 3 or shooting for level 3, they're like, focus. All
right.
I'll look at Lorwyn on Sunday. Focus.
Interesting.
So.
A couple more updates for you. The webcast is back on for Sunday.
Yay.
We thought that might get washed out with the flood, but everything has come together. As you said, the event staff's been scrambling all day to piece this whole tournament back together again. So the webcast is on for Sunday with 3 rounds of Swiss in the morning. Probably be about 1:30 local time, which is I think about 8:30 East Coast, but that's really approximate.
So you don't have to get up at 4:30 in the morning anymore back in New York.
True. Finals should be, lunch. Should work out great.
Yep.
Now, what was this LCQ story you were telling me about?
So, in fact, I mentioned it in one of the pregame shows that there were 280 players
280 in the LCQ.
280 players in
That's
the LCQ,
awesome.
including 200 local Spanish players. The Spanish community's been apparently just been this insane growth community for Magic. It's just like lots of players going to PTQs and really active. But anyway, they were in the last round when it's not that the room was flooded. It was flooded and people had to evacuate. There was standing water on the floor. There's electricity here. There's cables. It's like you have to get out.
Yep.
The last round of the LCQ was scuttled. And Steve Port, who runs side events, was on the phone with Scott Larrabee. He's like, "What do I do?"
Right.
We've just played 7 rounds. We're in the middle of the 8th round. These people have been fighting for their. Some people flew here from other countries, right? You can't just say, no more LCQ. So he and Scott looked at the round 7 standings. They said, "How many people with this many losses?" And they're like, "Oh, that's too many." All right, how many people with this many losses? 19. Okay. Everyone with that many losses and better,
they're all in.
They're in. 19 players qualified in the last chance qualifier.
Wow. Well, all right, there you go. And they all presumably escaped the room before the floodwater.
Yes. Hopefully they didn't escape the room before they learned that they won an invite to the Pro Tour.
Right. So crazy day, crazy scene here in Valencia. The floodwaters came in, they've receded, we're back on schedule. That's the word. That's the story here from day 0.5 for the Tournament Center. For Brian David-Marshall, this is Randy Buehler. See you next time.